It's curtains down for the 18th edition of G20 under India's presidency, and with that India has also handed over the presidency to Brazil. But talking about G20 under India's presidency or chair, it has been actually a highly unprecedented and historic in nature, with many big firsts associated with it, and most importantly some tangible outcomes. We're very glad and honored rather to have with us Secretary Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, Shri Apurva Chandra ji, with us in our very DDINDIA setup studio in Mandapam facility, which has garnered in fact global eyeballs. Let's get talking to him, sir. To begin with, how do you see the conclusion bit of it, but most particularly the fact that the Doordarshan, the state broadcaster, beamed these live exclusive visuals across the globe, which in a way has also been historic in nature.
Yes, the G20 residentship of India itself has been historic, and I think in that the role of Doordarshan also is historic, because Doordarshan has come up to the expectations and has transmitted 4K for the first time, which is being happening in India. From HD it has migrated to 4K, and this feed has been taken throughout the world. All the major channels of the world, they have taken the clean feed from Doordarshan, and that is how it has been transmitted across the world. The people have seen the visuals, the people have seen the capability of Doordarshan, and DDINDIA, which was revamped only recently for the purpose of G20, now it is shown that it has arrived, and it is going to stay, and it is going to become one of the primary focus channels to take to take the story of India to the world.
Yeah, India's voice to the world, that's the tagline of DDINDIA. It's basically the international arm of the national news broadcaster. Before I talk about the tangible outcomes, a little bit more elaboration on the scale and expanse of the coverage, not only on DDINDIA, but the entire Doordarshan network.
What you see here in this media center, that is a culmination of India's residency. But the entire coverage of G20 began a year back when India assumed the presidency last December, at the end of November, when they assumed the presidency from Indonesia. And then, under the vision and guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister, more than 200 meetings were held in 60 cities with more than 100,000 delegates from all across the world. And taking that story forward, taking it across the world to the far corners of the world and far corners of our country, that has been achieved by Doordarshan. Today there would be hardly any citizen in the country who doesn't know that G20 is happening in the country, and the achievements of India, what we have achieved through this declaration which happened yesterday, that also will now be taken forward by Doordarshan and DDINDIA.
Doordarshan has been an integral part of the, like Honorable Secretary talked about, India's presidency. Across 60 cities, sir, as you mentioned, more than 200 meetings, dedicated programming and micro-level coverage of the entire event. Would you like to share some insights in that? Because that must have been an extremely humongous task, nationwide networking.
Yes, as the Prime Minister directed that the meetings have to be held all across the country, so more than 60 cities, 20 states, 8 union territories, and meetings are held everywhere. So Doordarshan, even though the setup may be there, may not be there, but they did go there, whether it is through OEB van, through backpacks, but the transmission was done, and the story was carried for not only our country, but throughout the world. And Doordarshan has succeeded in that, and today everybody is praising the G20 summit and the G20, the entire one-year program which has been held in India, and for that Doordarshan has a big role to play.
Yes. Secretary Chandra, talking about the state-of-the-art technology plus this media center, I have been interacting with a lot of foreign journalists also who have covered earlier G20 summits, not really comparing, but one thing, like a common denominator that has been coming up in our conversation since last 2 days, is the way the media coverage and the whole arrangement of the broadcasting.
Yes, this media center, few days back before the start of this summit, I had said that we will set the gold standard, and today I think all the media people who are here, they are vouching for that this kind of media center has never been seen earlier in any of the G20s. And it is not just the technical parameters, because today, I mean, here just now I was checking, the 5G speed here was more than 1 Gbps. So that kind of speeds which are available, the uplinking and the uplinking facilities, the transmission rooms, the interview rooms, the media rooms, all that, the 1,300 or more workstations, so everything is there. But apart from that, the comfort of the media, I think that where we show our hospitality, not only to the delegates but also the media, that is also on display.
There has been a very good feedback for the food, by the way, on a lighter note.
So this availability of snacks 24/7, availability of food, and apart from that, this the cultural exhibition which has been held, which is being held here, where the culture, where the handicrafts of all the states are on display and high quality products are available, and that too, that again is a part of the display that you can use UPI and e-rupee for buying those products, which again I think is a unique experience, would be a unique experience for the foreign media.
Yes. You know, sir, talk about culture and heritage that we do know that has been there as one of the cornerstones under India's G20 presidency, but also at the same time, since we are talking about media center, the showcasing of India's culture and heritage is writ large, and that is something which is also unique about the summitry aspect under India's presidency. The curating of this whole event.
The culture, of course, has been an inherent part, and culture includes the dances, the location itself, and also the food and the welcome. It encompasses everything.
Indian hospitality.
And the hospitality. So it encompasses everything, and it is, this summit, of course, is the culmination, but then those 60 cities, they were chosen that they had something to show about the culture of the of that particular part of India. And the engagement groups, normally they had 3 or 4 meetings. The working groups, they had 3 or 4 meetings. So it was so chosen that the meetings are not repeated at the same place. So the delegates who are coming for that particular engagement group or working group, they get a taste of the diversity of our country. The meetings are held at different locations, so they can taste a different cuisine, different textile, different culture, and something to take home about our ancient culture also.
Yes, sir. So, you've handled many critical ministries, curated mega events, but the challenges associated with this event, and how did you really go about it?
This was like a whole of government approach, as the Prime Minister has been saying, and so many ministries were involved. More than 15 ministries were involved in the engagement groups and the working groups. And the discussions in those groups meetings, they have gone into the final outcome of the declaration which happened yesterday, and everything finds the essence of that is there. The ministerials were held, and everything you find reflected there. Apart from that, the logistics, where the state governments are involved, the security agencies were involved, so many hotels, the private hospitality industry was involved, the culture.
Aligning with so many departments.
Yes, so everything, I think, not only it is an effort of the central government, but the state governments, they also wholeheartedly supported this. So it is the entire country which was involved in the G20, and I think that is why we are seeing the outcome today, that the entire world is appreciating the outcome.
Hosting an event of such a magnitude where literally the entire world has converged here in a national capital, New Delhi, and then beaming those live visuals across the globe, and especially the IBC. A bit more on that planning bit, sir. Extensive planning and putting everyone together, connecting dots.
The media center provided the facilities, but I think Doordarshan has done a great effort. So many people have been involved, and more than 78 cameras were set up just for the final summit. Again, 4K, the feeds were given to everybody, and then this is the outcome. But technically at the back also, the entire Doordarshan team has been working relentlessly for the past 2-3 months to put this show together. And I am sure, I can say that they have done the country proud.
State broadcaster rose to the occasion.
Yes, of course. The state broadcaster, which is Prasar Bharati, it rose to the occasion and provided the feed to the entire world.
All right, so before I move on to the outcome bit of it, would you like to also share your thoughts on the overall coverage of the event? We have international media here in footprint, huge numbers. Normally, in summits you do get to see, but this was certainly different because invitee countries and other multilateral organizations.
This scale of media, where the media from all the world is represented. This kind of scale of media you don't get to see anywhere else. Maybe in our country you would have seen it in World Cup or sports competitions, but that again is a limited media which is devoted only to the sports and the sporting activities. But here it is a media which is looking at the very diverse range of topics, right from diplomacy to hospitality to culture, and in that the Prasar Bharati has played a major role in uplifting the image of the country.
Now, talking about the Delhi Declaration and big firsts that have been associated with it. So finally, a quick thought on the way India has managed this 100% consensus, and that too on a very first day.
The 100% consensus, of course, is again the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister and the respect which he commands in the Committee of Nations now. For the past 9 years, his efforts, and they are showing that his word, that is taken very seriously by whether it is the global north or the global south, and they take it very seriously. Now his sentence which he made 6-8 months back, that this is not the time of war, it finds a special reflection in this particular declaration.
Single line, para 14.
Yes.
Yes.
And then apart from that, digital public infrastructure on which our Prime Minister invested so much, and that is something which is unique to our country. Today only I was reading that 46% of the entire digital transactions in the entire world, they are happening in India. In August, more than 1 billion digital transactions happened. So that's that kind of scale which we have done, and it is so easy, seamless, instantaneous payments are happening. So that is something which we are showing to the world, and it has been displayed in all the engagement group meetings, all the working group meetings, and the entire world appreciates that, and you will find that there are several chapters, several paragraphs in the declaration on the digital public infrastructure.
One final question. India has also pitched, rather, Honorable Prime Minister has pitched this G20 presidency under India's presidency G20 as people-centric, human-centric approach and people's presidency. The whole concept or the vision or the ethos of Jan Bhagidari. Your thoughts?
Yes, of course. I mean, the people, in India, the Honorable Prime Minister, his entire vision is Jan Bhagidari, and he has taken it to the world so that the world also understands that the progress, the path of progress is only if the people are participating, and if we take the people along, only then the world can see progress like we are doing in India. India is one of the fastest growing democracies, and we would like the entire world to involve the people and take the same path.
This is pretty much in tandem with Prime Minister's vision of Vikas Bhi or Virasat Bhi. Heritage and development can go hand in hand. Thank you very much, Apurva Chandra sir, for talking to us on DDINDIA. Thank you.
Thank you.